What's going on, guys? It's the Big Podcast, episode number 41, the Tom Seaver episode. And today we're going to go over week 15. It was the long week. We hope you enjoyed the midseason draft review that I did with my first guest from Denver, Colorado. Big Mets fan. Hoping we're making a big trade today, huh, Jason Ashby? How are you tonight?
I'm doing great, Joe. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I got my eye on Twitter, and we'll see if any splashes happen. But in the meantime, yeah, it was a crazy week. That long week is always tough, and it was tough. It was a very tough week. I'm happy to be over it and ready to see how the second half comes into play here. It's gonna be a fun ride.
No doubt. We have got quite a race on our hands. I believe it is 13 teams for 6 spots that are all within a puncher's chance, shall we say. And one of the guys right in the middle of it is the reigning, defending, undisputed world heavyweight bigs champion 3 times over, and our esteemed commissioner, Ben Nisman. Benny, how are you doing this evening, my friend?
Doing well, Joe. Thank you. And another exciting week in our league. And when you talk about July 31st, August 1st, when you talk to that subject to a bunch of nerds like us in this league, we know exactly what that time of the year means. And it's always an exciting time. And it always makes a big change, not only in the MLB, but in our league. And it already has so far a lot of different things on different teams now because of what's happened. So we're going to see what happened. We got a lot of breakdown and unpack. So, Joe, please lead us off, buddy.
Let's get going, boys. It is week 15. It was the very, very long week. And we're going to kick it off with my matchup against Ari Nisman, a 10-10 tie. I think I'm undefeated in the last 7 weeks or so. It's pretty astounding. It's the last time I lost was to Ben 12-5. So, love that. On Sunday it was 11-9 Ari going in. He had a 7-inning lead, and I flipped that. I did tie losses with him, which is disappointing, and strikeouts were tied, and I took that one as well. Close categories, I won by a triple. I won by the 4 1/3 innings. I won by 2 wins and 3 home runs given up by a pitcher. For Ari, he won by it looks like more than 3 doubles, more like 5 doubles, 3 home runs, 2 steals, 3 walks, and 2 errors. We tied in losses. On my bench this week, Benjamin, 7 for 36.
Jeez. Two, 218.
194. 4 runs, 3 doubles, a homer, 4 RBIs, and 4 walks. The 4 walks would have flipped the category, but I would have had to be perfect. Not going to happen. The rest doesn't really play from what I'm looking at here, so
That was it.
I'll take it. My moves this week. All right, let's start. I dropped Aaron Ashby for Seth Brown. I liked that kid. He was doing really well for me, and then he went and had a baby, and I had to drop him. And I picked up Joey Wendell for Brendan Rodgers. Joey Wendell has been very nice. Thank you very much, Jason, for giving it back to me again. Keegan Aiken gets dropped for Mitch White, 6 innings, 4 strikeouts, a 3 ERA, a 150 whip against Washington. And I had to drop Jazz Chisholm as he is essentially done for the year. I then picked up Trevor May, dropped Seth Brown for Brendan Rodgers, who went over 4 with a strikeout and an error the day I added him. But he was pretty good for me because he was in Colorado all week. And
Yes.
I said, you know what? We need to add more guys like that. I dropped Mitch White for Trace Thompson, 1 for 3, 2 runs, an RBI, a walk, and 2 strikeouts in Colorado. I dropped Diego Castillo for Anthony Santander. More on that guy in a minute. I dropped Trace Thompson for Joe Jimenez, an inning, 3 strikeouts, and a relief appearance. Jose Alvarado dropped for Luis Garcia, He did not pitch. Trevor May gets dropped for Adrian Morejon. He did not pitch. More on those guys in a bit. I dropped Brendan Rodgers for Andre Palante and Morejon for Reed Detmers. More on those dudes about Sunday. I used all 12, 5 hitters, 3 starters, and 4 relievers. My MVP this week is, in fact, the aforementioned Anthony Santander. 563 batting average, 588 on base, 2 runs, a double, 2 homers, 5 RBIs, and 2 strikeouts. That's a 9 for 16. That's essentially 3 for 4s, or 4 3 for 4s.
Yeah.
Right? Something like that.
Yeah.
The least valuable hitter is Ryan Mountcastle, who went 2 for 20. That's a 100 and a 136 with a run, 3 RBIs, a walk, 6 strikeouts. You'd think these guys hit in the same lineup. They hit right next to each other often enough. But I did see this as well, and I was benching Mountcastle toward the end of the week and might still continue to do so soon. The Cy Young this week is Justin Verlander, 14 and 2/3, 2 wins, a homer, 3 walks, 14 strikeouts, a 1.23 ERA, and 0.82 WHIP. The Cy Young is Jose Alvarado, the 20 and 25 with a loss over an inning and a third with a walk, 3 strikeouts, and a 3 WHIP. 2 relief appearances. I had a really good pitching week. You're right. I pitched with 304, and it probably could have been a lot better if I had just done a couple of other things.
Yeah.
For Ari Benjamin on his bench this week.
Oh boy, here we go.
37 for 132.
Before I say it, I gotta tell you, I'm pretty disappointed with my 7 for 36 performance. How did I not think 7 times 5 is 35, and it's a little less? That was bad. That was my warm up, and now I get this.
That was your first one. You got plenty more.
Yeah, that was like a layup. And now, what did you just say? Sorry, now I gotta think about it. 37.
37 for 132.
$326.
280.
Oh man, I'm an idiot.
280.
Here we go.
With 27 runs, 9 doubles, a triple that ties the category, 4 homers, 29 RBIs,
Wow.
5 steals, 16 walks, 25 strikeouts, and 2 errors. Mike Haber has some notes here. He could have flipped innings and strikeouts by a pitcher, but he also would have lost the losses category as he benched a couple of starters.
Yeah.
Other than the triple, none of it plays.
Nope.
The triple is on the 23rd, which was the first Saturday of the matchup. It's Gavin Lux on the bench here.
Yep.
Here with the triple. And I don't know. Brandon Lau, 1 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Wilmer Flores, 0 for 4 with a strikeout. Yeah, it was doable. It was very doable. And most of them usually are. Most of them.
Yeah.
Moves this week are not many. Steven Strasburg, rest in peace, 2022 season to Steven Strasburg. Jesus Sanchez and Alec Thomas also get the boot. He does add Tommy La Stella, who goes on Sunday in the last game of the week, 2 for 5 with a double and a strikeout because fuck me, right? I remember him hitting the double into the corner, and I was saying out loud, please not a triple, please not a triple, please not a triple, and it wasn't, thankfully. He only added 1 guy. His MVP this week is JT Realmuto. 393 average, 500 on base, 4 runs, a double, 2 homers, 8 RBIs, a steal, 6 walks, 4 strikeouts, and an error. The least valuable hitter is Lourdes Gurriel. 200 average, 310 on base, 4 runs, an RBI, 4 walks, and 5 strikeouts. Cy Young is Nestor Cortez. 11 innings, 2 wins, 2 walks, 12 strikeouts, a 164 to 118. Is the mustache ride real?
Sure.
I mean, okay.
I don't know. I don't know what to make of him.
Brad Keller's the Cy Yuck. He 4 innings, a loss, 5 walks, a strikeout, 9 ERA, 2.25 WHIP. All right, it's my matchup. I'm gonna kick it to you guys. Ben, I shall start with you on this.
All right, let's start with me then. Joe, I hate to do this, man, but I gotta put you on the spot here on your show. I think we all know that I use my phone to do the podcast, so I can't really access this text message. Would you be so kind to read the text message that you sent me yesterday morning, please?
Yeah.
For the audience.
Oh, I would love to.
Thank you.
I'd love to. I sent this text message to him before first pitch Sunday morning with an intent of, hey, I plan on reading this word for word. So here it is. Please reach out to Ari for me and let him know that I see this strategy. I get it. When it works, it works. But a lot relies on him, and he was great this week, and all the credit in the world to him. I played a lot for the future this week, considering I know I would be up again. I would end up keeping it close. All the reliever roulette isn't about beating Ari; it's about beating Frank. So part of this week is sacrificed to planning that out, but Ari did what he was supposed to, and the league is better when Ari Nisman is competitive. I hope he at least listens to this episode where I will read this and expand. Give us a 20-minute chunk of your time, even if it's at the same time as you're setting your lineup. I encourage him to listen to us and give us some feedback. Thank you. Love you. And I know this is the part you want me to read out loud. Ari fucking owns me.
So, then we spoke yesterday, and you sent the text with an expectation, correct?
Hang on. Oh, is that in our group? Is that in our group thread?
No. I'm just wondering, like, when you and I spoke yesterday, it was almost like you had waved the flag.
It was a situation where I could end up tying, but if I take a small loss, I'm not all that upset about it.
Everything you said in that text message still rings true.
Yeah.
Everything. And it was brilliantly written and brilliantly spoken right now. The one thing that I'll say is that when you say that he owns you, I just don't know where it's derived from. Because you might feel a loss in the regular season in 2019 and in 2020 and in 2021. But when I ask you the 2014 final that Ari was in, Joe wins the championship. In 2015, the following year in the semifinal, it's me and him when I take Ari out. However, in 2018 semifinal again, Ari and Joe wins again. And then in 2020, weirdly, as we talk about that season, in the first round, it's Joe and Ari again.
For the third time in a season. In a season that had 9 weeks.
I mean, I don't know where it was derived from, like I said, Joe, but as far as the clutchness of when you need to get the win against Ari, when it's mattered most, like, you have a major upper hand there. And I don't know if it would take a lot for Ari to come back from that, though he's had some regular season success. And I think that this is just more of a you spoil him, he spoiled you. There was really not much to make out of the ending of this matchup. It was fun to watch two very different strategies. And I acknowledge the fact that when you play against Ari, you kind of know that you don't have to do as much. So I feel like the guy that faces after you face Ari is in bigger trouble. In this case, Frank, because you can prepare a lot more than you would normally when you're playing every ad to try to keep up with an opponent. So that was just it's a tough break for Frank there, where I feel like even though Frank is able to prepare also, where normally Joe might have had to work a little bit more. He used 12 ads, sure, but he used a lot of it directed at this upcoming week. So look out for this matchup. I'm pretty excited to see Joe and Frank and them battle it out. And for Ari, he's treading water here. I don't see it even being possible for him to get into the playoffs with this strategy, but I mean, it's the bigs and some crazy things have already happened this season. So 6 weeks is a lot of time. I guess we'll see what happens.
And the thing is, he's only at this point 5.5 games out of a playoff race. Like out of a playoff spot, 5.5 back. Jason, you did the research on this one. No, was it
Yeah,
you or
no,
was
it was
Mike?
me.
All
It
right.
was me.
What'd you see here, man?
Yeah, I saw kind of what we expected to see. The score was probably a little bit closer than I mean, it ends up being tied, but score wise, we're probably expecting a little bit different. But I feel like from a matchup standpoint, this is what we expected to see. It was just what we said. Didn't have to do a whole lot. Ari didn't do much of anything, but he's a pain. He's a pain, and he you know, there wasn't. I feel like you kind of wanted this to be a 14-7 dump trucking, but it wasn't. It was a 10-10 tie, and you're still sitting pretty up at the top, and he's working his way into the playoff picture. I just don't know that he makes any kind of a leap unless he really starts doing something with that strategy. Get a reliever, do something, make moves, do something.
He has lost only once since week 8.
Wow.
In that time, 16-5 win over McCloskey, 12-6 win over Ben. And then the last few weeks, a 7-10 loss to Jason, 10-9 win, 11-10 win, 10-10 tie. He's just sort of stagnating right where he's at the moment. And sometimes that's okay with all of the other water shifting around you. As long as he can put together a good final 6 weeks. Costas, Jimmy, Frank, Lebo, Mike Sherman, Mike Haber.
Yeah, that's tough. That's
it
tough.
will be. It will be.
Yeah.
It will be. Benny, if anybody can do it, I have a feeling like Ari could because it's the bigs. And we have talked about like that even year thing that he does to make the playoffs. So like, wouldn't this be exactly how this story would be written?
Yeah, I would at least like it that in week 20 we're still having the conversation. That would be nice to keep that even year thing going.
Yeah, like even if week 21's matchup against Mike Haber is a play-in game and B, a really long shot for him to make it. I said it in my text to you. This league is better when Ari Nisman and that strategy is competitive.
Yeah.
It just lengthens our standings, and him being sitting right in the middle in 10th is a great spot for him to have been, and I could see it improving over the next 6 weeks. I really could.
Wow. We'll see.
All right, let's move on to the next matchup, Benjamin, and you know which one this is going to be, my friend. This is your matchup with Chris Levy. You're going to take down a 12-7 loss here. It was 10-6 going in to Sunday. Walks were tied. Chris took that one. Strikeouts were tied. You took that one. You were up by 2 1/3 innings. Holy shit. You were up by a win. Oh, that stinks. You guys were tied in losses. Chris gave you that one. And you guys were tied in home runs given up, and Chris gave you that one. Close categories. Chris wins by a steal, 3 walked by the batter, and 1 walked by a pitcher. Ben, you won by the double. You won by an error. You won by 1 loss, 1 home run given up by a pitcher, and 3 relief appearances. You guys tied in triples and wins for Chris on his bench. He went 3 for 7.
Nice. I wish I actually just knew that. For 486, I don't know.
429. 429.
Okay.
With a run, 2 RBIs, and a steal. None of it plays. His moves this week, he added JP Fireisen and Jose Trevino. He dropped Jose Trevino for Paul Blackburn. He drops Paul Blackburn for Ramon Urias. Drops Urias for Dahlbeck and adds Luis Urias, not the other Urias in Ramon Urias. We have 2 different Uriases on this team. He drops Bobby Dahlbeck for Yusei Kikuchi. That was that start that we were talking about. More on that in a minute. You dropped Luis Urias for Jose Quintana and then also dropped Yusei Kikuchi. Looks like 10 ads, 4 hitters, 3 relievers, and 3 starters. The MVP this week, and maybe the MVP of like everyone on this planet right now, is in fact Aaron Judge. 405 average, 519 on base percentage, 13 runs, 2 doubles, 9 homers, 21 RBIs, 2 steals, 9 walks, 14 strikeouts.
I mean, 9 home runs is a guy's season. That's how a guy will hit that in a season.
Did I have that many home runs this week? Or RBIs?
You had more RBIs, but Aaron Judge out-homered you out-homered your entire team. Your whole team had 8. He had 9. Your whole team put out 33 RBIs. He put out 21. Okay. The least valuable hitter is Travis d'Arnaud, a 136 with a 174, 2 runs, 2 RBIs, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. Cy Young is Max Fried. Where is he at? Here he is. 13 innings, 2 walks, 13 strikeouts, a 208 and a 115, but no wins. No wins. Very few of those coming along. The Cy Young is Paul Blackburn, 4 1/3, a loss, 2 dingers, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, a 2077 futuristic, and a 277. Holy Christ. Ben, on your bench this week, do you think you did well or poorly over the 11 days?
I was gonna go with kind of in the middle, like at the league average, maybe like 250-ish.
Okay. All right, fair enough. League average currently sits somewhere in the low 240s, 243-ish, I think.
I meant for the bigs league average.
Oh, yeah. Okay. It is 14 for 73.
What? That's actually a lot better than I thought it would be.
Yes, it is.
It's unfortunate. Jeez, is it 188?
192. He's catching fire.
Yep.
That was a frozen rope to the outfield to get you out of the slump. 6 runs, 5 doubles, 3 homers, 8 RBIs, 10 walks, 23 strikeouts, and 2 errors. The 10 walks are interesting because you lost it by 3. I don't know how many you think you could get in or how you feel on that subject.
Yeah, maybe. I guess the answer is that Miguel Cabrera needed to be played more. That's all. And when you think about it, the combo for walks is Votto Santana. So I had to just down the stretch. And I mean, if I'm saying it now, there's not much more to really say about this matchup. But I stuck to the combo instead of going away from it. And honestly, if you look at Saturday and Sunday, what I did pretty well on my benchings is because I benched Cabrera, but sometimes you need the counting stats. So, it's not like I hit really well not on the bench either. So we'll get into more. Go ahead.
All right. Let's move on to his moves. He dropped Vimael the Machine for Richard Blyer. Then didn't make a move for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days, man. You went almost an entire calendar week without making a move from the 22nd to the 29th. then dropped Richard Blyer for Dean Kramer, and then Dean Kramer for Kyle Bradish. Something happened there?
Yeah, that was two bad decisions.
Okay. We'll get to it. Bradish gets dropped for Dean Kramer again. Garrett Richards gets dropped for Drew Smiley. Dean Kramer gets dropped again for Dylan Bundy.
You know what? I understand your first question now. Yeah, the reason why they had to get flip-flopped is because Yahoo made the mistake and had Kramer as the probable starter for Friday. And he was lit up. So I said, good, and I took him. And then 2 minutes later, now Bradish is the probable starter. Okay. I knew I wasn't going to have to use all 12 ads anyway, so it wasn't.
Good point.
I didn't feel it was a waste of ad.
Okay. Kramer gets dropped for the second time in the matchup for Dylan Bundy, Drew Smiley for Adam Oller, Harlan Garcia for Austin Voth. And then, because that was in fact the bluff, was it not?
Correct.
Adam Oller gets dropped for Jonathan Hernandez, who closed out the game with the Texas Rangers. Austin Voth gets dropped for Tyler Rogers, reliever from San Francisco, and Dylan Bundy gets dropped for Carlos Charlie Sheen Estevez. You used 11 of them, 4 relievers, 7 starters. The MVP this week, Benjamin, who is he?
Wow, it's Votto, probably.
No, Mike gave it to Randall Grichuk.
Yeah.
346 with a 414, 3 runs, a double, 2 triples, 7 RBIs, a steal, 3 walks, and 7 strikeouts.
Yeah.
Save
me a category.
Yes, he gave you 1. Carlos Santana is the least valuable hitter. 069, nice, 152 on base. A run, a double, a homer, 4 RBIs, 3 walks, and 3 strikeouts. Probably not what you want this week from that guy. Votto was doing well for you with 8 RBIs and 4 bombs. And Miguel Cabrera, yikes. That's probably more to exactly what you were just saying about you stuck to Santana and Votto. Cabrera needed to get in there. The Cy Young, who is it?
Well, I think it's got to be Drew Smiley because of the. As bad as Kershaw was, and Mikolas was awful, and Ian Anderson, those are my guys. When I went to Smiley, I'm going Smiley versus Junis on Levy's team, 1-on-1. So if my guy is better than his, it really could change the flow of Sunday. But Smiley was just bad enough to get a loss that had to put me on the defense, to make me aggressive. Same with the home runs and the walks. So everything changed because I started making these starts. Now, albeit I needed to go ahead in innings and be close in strikeouts in order to force Chris to pitch. But even still, it would have been better off if I stayed passive this weekend.
So you're saying that Drew Smiley is your Cy Young, he was your bad starter this week?
Unless you count Kershaw and what he's supposed to be for me. He was disappointing. And freaking Ian Anderson was bad. So.
I would also say Harlan Garcia was bad for you. Dean Kramer, 4 1/3, a loss, 2 homers, a walk, 3 strikeouts. 1246 and a 254. The Cy Young will give it to Max Scherzer, 13 innings, a loss, a bomb, 3 walks, 14 strikeouts, a 138, and a 1 whip. Ben, it's an interesting loss here. I know you're concerned coming down the stretch here about whether or not you're even going to win another game. So I'll give you the floor to address that and anything else pertaining to this matchup.
Well, obviously, I think that you nailed it. This is a loss that is disappointing, and I'm just not really sure if it's just a sign of things to come. That it's just going to be more of matchups like this where I can tread water and grab stats here and there, but can I really cut it? Chris Levy's team would have out-homered everybody this week. He would have had more RBIs than anybody. I'm pretty sure he would have had as many or maybe the most runs this week. Had an unbelievable batting average. He didn't pitch well. I mean, it was the one time where like all I needed to do was pitch the way my pitchers could pitch, and I'm staying in this matchup. But like my starting pitching actually did fail me and screw me this week. It's tough, and I'm just dealing with how I'm gonna tread water the rest of the way and just take another day off the calendar. And Grichuk, he saves me and gets me the tie in that category. And sure, I'm able to surrender the losses and home runs given up, and the day later being able to grab them back. That's nice to have a bluff and it worked in my favor to an extent. It wasn't for naught. Jansen, he comes into the game, man, and I have the tie and walks given up. He gives up that walk right back, and I'm losing that category. Riley gets a double. I get the W. I get a win from Jansen, but at the same time, the walk given up, I trade, 1 for 1 because then, of course, Gonsolin has to grab a win for Levy and tie that category right at the end. It was kind of a crazy Sunday again, but I wouldn't say it's one that really went in my favor. I'm grateful that I didn't have to worry about just losing doubles because Chris's team was so relentless offensively that I'm just stunned that he couldn't grab a 2-bagger on Sunday, and I hold on to that. I'll take it. The other offensive category besides strikeouts, when I was able to play defensive, I'd like you to actually consider on Saturday my benchings as far as what I could have done and what people might have mostly done with Gary Sanchez at that point. Sure, I'm leading errors by 1. He's playing catcher. So you might say, like, well, that's what Ben would do. But I was also trying to dodge strikeouts. What was Gary Sanchez's line on Saturday?
0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts.
Oh, okay.
He's on your bench.
Yeah. So golden sombrero that I signed off on.
Yeah. That you bench.
How many strikeouts did I win by?
6.
It made the decision a little bit easier on Sunday on how to play it because I'm a little bit closer in that category going into Sunday.
And that dude isn't playing on Sunday, so you're even better off. Like, that's an immediate headache out of your
and
lineup.
Now I can I can play a short lineup because as the games go on and I have different guys at different times during the day, that's what's going to end up happening.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, it was a relentless team that I was dealing with, and I did the best I could. The other thing I wanted us to point out that wasn't discussed is how many errors I managed to have on the bench.
2.
No, that's not right. I think I had 1 on the bench from Donaldson and 1 from Wisdom and 1 from Grichuk. I think it's 3.
One of them on Sunday. Grichuk on Sunday. The 28th, you had Wisdom on the bench.
That's an error.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, keep going. Did you not go to Tuesday the 26th?
Okay. And there's Josh Donaldson with the error. That's the 3rd error. Mike, you missed that one, buddy.
Just need a stat check, somebody. Sorry, Mike. No, honestly, I don't want to knock him because he does an unbelievable job. But that was something that I was paying attention to. The fact that I kept on getting it right there with the 3rd baseman, 2 third basemen dodging the error, and then on Sunday, Grichuk, who gets a double, and I'm thinking, shit, I might need that double. It was an insurance double. I didn't, and there he is with an error.
With the rare outfield error. Yeah, we were talking about that.
That would have tied the category. 3 errors on the bench. Guys, when I look at this score, I think about it, and I'm thinking about how we got more weeks of spoilers these past 2 weeks, and I'm still in this because of certain spoilers. We'll get into that later. But a little bit of my management too made this a closer matchup. So I'll take this loss in a long week, move on, and hopefully a W in the next few weeks. I need one. It's been a long time.
Jason, we're going to go over Ben's schedule here just for a moment. And I want you to talk to us about whether you think that Benjamin is safe enough to have at least some semblance of maybe the word isn't calm, but some peace of mind that he's in a good position right now. Okay, his schedule the rest of the way looks like this: James McCloskey, Christian Wood, Jimmy Dunlap, Bobby Russo, yourself, and Josh Haber.
There are some winnable matchups there. There are some definite winnable matchups for Ben Nisman there. So I don't think you have to worry about finding a win. I think you're going to get multiple wins the rest of the way.
All right.
Now,
anything you noticed in this matchup that you wanted to break down?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I didn't follow it that closely. It was a great matchup. Like you said, looking at what you just went through, like this could have been a lot worse. So the fact that you made it as close as it was still gives me faith, I guess, that you're Ben Nisman and you are going to be just fine for the rest of the 6 weeks. Like,
thanks, man.
There's no concern.
You survived an MVP like avalanche from this guy.
Yeah. I mean, Aaron Judge himself could have destroyed anybody, and you weathered that. So,
and we haven't talked about Paul Goldschmidt, who essentially just negated the line that Joey Votto put up for you by also having 4 homers and 8 RBIs. So once he took your best offensive counting stats off of the table, and then Aaron Judge does this, like, dude, there wasn't much of a chance offensively. Can you be upset about how your team pitched? Sure. Do you think Mikolas is going to fall apart in the second half? I don't. I think he's a pretty decent veteran to have as a number 3 right now.
Yeah.
And somehow you survived Taylor Rogers, like, still maybe kind of has a closer job?
Yeah. He's going
That's
from one.
Okay. I'm basically
one to the other. It's really the same to me.
Yeah. As far as the rest of the way in my bullpen, I think I'm basically okay. I might have 1 or 2 opponents that I have to deal with in that category, but in the most part, I think I'm okay. It's just really offensively, can I just continue to throw punches? And I really need Kershaw and Scherzer to just be themselves almost every single time, and that's unfair to expect over this chunk of period is when I need it, because once I'm in the playoffs, who the hell knows, but it's really just clinching, like figuring out a way to be one of the 6 guys, and it's important to me, and I don't want to sign off to the next matchup without giving my opponent a lot of credit for working hard. And I noticed what he had always in his back pocket as far as more starting pitchers ready to go, more probable starters, and I wasn't going to be able to keep up. I could only do the bluff. I'm glad it worked, but he was the better manager, and he's sure as hell earned the hell out of this playoff spot and more. It's almost a sure thing he's grabbing the bye. And I feel like even if we went 22, 23, or 24 week regular season, he'd probably still have the bye. So like that makes me feel good that I think we're looking at the top 2 teams that earned it the most, and they should be the teams that are in the Final 4 this year.
Well, I thank you for saying that, Benji. I appreciate it.
Agreed.
The one thing I will say about your schedule is that you said earlier it has been a moment since you got a win. You did beat Brian Lebo 10-8 back in week 12. However, week 10 forward, lost to Ari 12-6, lost to Frank 13-8, beat Ryan Lebo 10-8, tied Sherman 10-10, tied Haber 10-10, lost to Levy here 12-7. So I can understand that you're feeling a little, all right, when's this team going to do something for me here? Like I can feel the anxiety and the tension as all of these other teams are getting hotter and closer. You're not really doing something. I can understand that, but I think you're going to get a win this week against James McCloskey. If it's not going to happen this week, I think you could very well get a win next week when you face off against Christian. Those two things are one of those 2 weeks you're going to get a win out of. I'll be honest.
We'll see.
Let's move on to the next matchup, boys. We're going to talk about another very interesting matchup. I was very excited and was watching rather intently. That matchup is between Costas Paragas and Jimmy Dunlap. We got ourselves a 12-8 win for Costas, who every time we say he's dead, he just does something like this and keeps himself in the hunt. It was actually 15-4 going into Sunday, where I really thought he was going to jump right back into it. But Jimmy does what Jimmy does on a Sunday. So runs, Costas had a 2-run lead. Jimmy flipped that. Doubles were tied. Costas did get that one. RBIs were tied, and Jimmy took that one. Errors, Costas had a 1-error lead. And he not just had the error on Sunday, had 2 errors on Sunday and flips the category. And Costas had a 22-point batting average lead going into Sunday. And Jimmy wins it by 3 ticks. Those categories this week, Costas wins by the 2 doubles. He wins by a steal, 2 walks by a hitter, a strikeout, 1 tick on the on-base percentage, save, a walk given up. For Jimmy, he wins by 2 runs, 3 RBIs, an error, 3 ticks on the batting average, and 5 ticks on the whip. They tied in triples with 1. For Costas on his bench this week, Benjamin, 3 for 13.
Okay. Two, 3 for 13, right?
Mm-hmm.
247.
I heard you trying to say 230 something. It's 231. 231 with a run, 2 RBIs, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. The 4 strikeouts are the only thing that really play. Good keeping those out of your lineup. Most of them were on the first Friday, the 22nd. I had 3 of them on the bench here this day, including Slater. Donovan is the no play here. A 1 for 4 with 3 strikeouts on the bench. Saved that category for you. His moves this week, he dropped Frank Schwindel for Akil Baddoo. He dropped Chris Martin for Austin Slater. He dropped Will Scarecrow for Jose Quintana. He dropped Akil Really Baddoo for Danny Jansen. He dropped Danny Jansen for Nick Lodolo, dropped Jose Quintana for JT Brubaker, and dropped Dustin May for Jake Lamb. He dropped Jonathan Daza for Will Scarecrow, then dropped Jake Mary Had a Little Lamb for Luis Rengifo. He dropped DL Kids in the Hall for Seth. I don't know, something's brown. Will Scarecrow gets dropped for Jose Trevino, and Jose Trevino for Connor Brogdon. 12 ads, 7 hitters, 3 starters, 2 relievers. For Jimmy on his bench this week, Benjamin, 8 for 39.
Wow. So 208.
205. 2 runs, 2 doubles, 2 homers, 4 RBIs, a steal, 5 walks, 15 strikeouts, and an error. 1 more hit or walk would have flipped the on-base percentage. Tyro Estrada has a steal on the 27th. Right here. Tyro Estrada with the steal, and Hunter Dozier is not playing in the utility role here on that date.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it, and the Royals played well before the Giants did, so plenty of time to make that switch.
Yikes! So walks would have been at least gotten one closer. He would have tied the steals, and the on base percentage would have changed.
Yeah.
His moves this week. Steve Cishek gets dropped for Kyle Lewis, and then he dropped Nick Senzel. He drops Jonathan Loizaga for Matt Festa, drops Joe Jimenez for Brian Baker. He drops Nate Eovaldi for Cutter Crawford and adds Lucas Gilbreth. He drops Kyle Lewis. He drops Dean Kramer for Nate Eovaldi. Drops Nate Eovaldi for Nick Martinez. Drops Nick Martinez for Matt Bush. It adds a hitter, 5 relievers, and 2 starters. Key players this week. We'll start with Costas, and he had Colton Wong doing crazy things. 419 average, 472 on base, 11 runs, 5 doubles, a homer, 3 RBIs, a steal, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts, and an error. The least valuable hitter is the independent wrestling match known as Counter Joe. 100 average with a 143 on base percentage, a run, 2 doubles, an RBI, a walk, 5 strikeouts, and an error. The Cy Young is Tyler Anderson, 13 innings, a win, 2 walks, 10 strikeouts, nothing earned, and an 077 whip. The Cy Young is Joe Ryan, 10 and a third, a win, a walk, 5 bombs, 3 walks, 14 strikeouts, a 9.58 ERA, and a 145 whip. I guess this child has turned into a pumpkin. It looks like it.
Yeah,
That's sad.
he was out for a little while, and ever since he came back, it just hasn't been right.
Yeah, and like maybe he's pushed beyond to his limit at this point, right? He hasn't been stretched out this far before. I don't know. For Jimmy, his MVP this week is Jose Ramirez, 286 average, 304 on base, 6 runs, 4 doubles, 2 homers, 9 RBIs. A steal, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, and an error. The least valuable hitter is going to be Carlos Correa, 167 with a 194, 3 runs, a double, 2 homers, 3 RBIs, a walk, 6 strikeouts, and an error. MJ Melendez had 14 strikeouts, but also hit 342.
That's cool.
Ow. What did he do? Only strike out and get hits the whole rest of the time? That's insane. The Cy Young for Jimmy this week is Zach Gallen. 7 innings, a win, 7 strikeouts, nothing earned, and an 0.29 whip. The Cy Young is the now dropped Nate Eovaldi. 2 2/3, a loss, a homer, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, a 30-38. That feels like something I would spend at I don't know, a gas station. And a 375 whip. That's what I wish a gallon of gas was costing these days. All
Well
right.
done.
Let's talk about this one. I see some mistakes from Jimmy again this week, but honestly, I think Costas played this one incredibly well. Mike did the research on this one as well. So, Jason, I'll start with you here. What do you see here in this one?
Yeah. It's I got to give Costas credit. He played it well. He capitalized on maybe some mental mistakes from Jimmy, and he came out with a win, potentially saving his season or at least keeping himself on life support here. And I'm looking at Jimmy's team right now, and it's just he's still sitting in third place here, but there's nothing that really scares me. Like his offense. Like if Carlos Correa is his least valuable hitter, he's in trouble. He's in trouble. Because Teoscar Hernandez has been okay, but he hasn't been what you were hoping for. Jose, so you're relying on Jose Ramirez and Marcus Semien, who also hasn't really been what he was last year. So this offense is not scary. I don't know. I don't want to discredit the manager because we know Jimmy is an incredible manager. I just wonder if he can make this work.
Benji, are you as critical as Jason is on this team?
No, actually, I'm actually on the opposite end. With all due respect to Jason, I'd be very, very worried about this team once, not if, but once it is in the playoffs. all you need is from these guys like a Semyon, Teoscar, and throw in Ramirez to be okay for the next 6 weeks. They don't have to be amazing. They just need to be okay for him to tread water and grab one of those spots. That's all he needs. He's got enough bullpen to match up with the next 6 opponents. So, yeah, I think even if it's treading water, this team has nothing to worry about because it's an incredible manager comboed with the fact that he's brought together a nasty roster that has underperformed. It might underperform, but all it needs to do is be good enough for 6 weeks, and the roster is in his favor. The schedule is in his favor. So I think the biggest thing I take out of this whole matchup is that Costas had a chance to save his season, guys. I thought he was going to possibly do that, but a 12-8, seeing those things drift away, I think was just another stat that he needs to climb back from. There's a lot of jumping over he needs to do. I feel bad counting him out, so I guess I won't, but there's a big difference between 13-7 and 12-8. I'm not even saying 14-6, but 13-7 would have felt a lot better having that extra 2, So it's disappointing. I'm sure it's disappointing for Costas, but he does need to feel good about himself because he was one of the best managers of the week. How many guys can keep Jimmy in check for an entire matchup, let alone the long week? He had that matchup basically the whole week. It was going to be a win. It was a foregone conclusion, at a certain point. But, Jimmy just kept chipping away and made it close and close and close. And all you need to do is give him the edge on Sunday. There are a few times where he's gotten beaten on that Sunday. We know it's happened, but Jimmy's very good on Sundays also. And funny enough, one of those things were errors that flipped in his favor. So it's been crazy. That was an unbelievable matchup. I tip my cap to Costas. I think maybe not enough. And I'm just, for Jimmy, he changed his name, I think, at some point to that was close one. And I think what he's trying to indicate there is he knows now he's probably okay now as far as getting into the playoffs, where if this game got ugly and this matchup was something like 14-5, now he's got work to do for the next 6 weeks. 12-8 was a good loss. And unfortunately for Costas, knowing what it could have been, wasn't a great win, but it was a respectful, I respect the win from him, for lack of better words.
Yeah, it certainly adds to his strength of schedule, and if we're looking at a BCS type ranking, it's definitely more helpful for Costas. The one thing I do want to look at here is on Sunday, you were talking about how Jimmy has gotten Sundayed from people before. Costas hit 118 with a 162 on base percentage. Jimmy hit 345 with a 441 before I even do any counting stats. That's how that gets flipped right there. And
yeah.
Jimmy didn't pitch all that great. Costas didn't either, but Costas got the W and got one more save. That's all he needed. It was a good enough Sunday from Costas to get the win, but Jimmy could have capitalized a little bit more there on the pitching side. As far as the schedule going forward, I do just want to point out Jimmy's lost 4 in a row, so this might be a bad time to be facing him. His schedule upcoming: Christian, Ari, Ben, Frank, Bobby, and he finishes with Brian Lebo. Jason, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, again, there's some get right matchups there for him. Obviously, the one against Ben, that's gonna be a dogfight. I am looking forward to that one. It'd be interesting to see where Frank is at that time. When they're facing each other, how that shapes out. But he can win some of these matchups for sure. He just needs to try to limit the mistakes. That's all.
I look at this matchup and I just see competitive, hard-nosed managers who are going to be fighting for their playoff lives all the way up until Brian Lebo, who just happens to be the guy who bumped you out of the 2020 playoffs. So, like, every single one of these matchups, not a single one of them is a pushover or an easy win, in my opinion. Ben, are you with me on that?
Absolutely.
And when I'm seeing these, like a 9-8 loss to James McCloskey last week and a 12-8 loss to Costas here and an 11-8 loss to Levy, he's starting to slide. And though it may be the right time to be, it might be the right time to be Jimmy in order to put it in drive and take off. But we've seen him slide like this before. And it wasn't all that long ago that I was saying, if we're going to see it, it's going to start here. What if it's underway? That's my concern.
I just, like you said before, I think it all cultivates into the fact that it's the worst time to face him because it's on a losing streak.
Mhm.
And the law of averages say he's due to go on one, if not maybe win 4 out of 6.
He could.
And honestly, all he needs to do is win 2 out of 6, and I think we might count him in.
3 definitely puts him in. 2
Yes,
could probably put him in.
probably.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the next matchup here, gentlemen. We've got ourselves a nice little spoiler situation here in the next one. Thank you and shout out to Brian Lebo for this one. Getting an 11-7 get right win for him over Josh Haber. On Sunday, it was 12-7, Brian. Josh had a 1 double lead, and Brian tied that category. And Brian had a 1 walk lead, and Josh flipped that. Those categories, Brian wins by a run, he wins by a triple, and he wins by a save. Josh wins by an RBI. He wins by 2 steals, a walk, 8 ticks on the on-base percentage, a walk, and 3 relief appearances. They tied in doubles, errors, and home runs given up by the pitcher. For Lebo on his bench this week, Benjamin, 5 for 16.
Interesting that he had such a short bench.
Yeah.
3, I don't know, 324? I don't know.
313. 5 runs with a double. That wins the category. 2 homers, 6 RBIs. That flips the category. 3 walks. That flips the category. And let's see what else. I'm sorry. My computer is having a seizure at the moment. I don't know. Jason, do you have that in front of you? What's the rest of that line?
Yeah, so 6 RBIs, 3 walks, and 3 strikeouts. And honestly, the double and the RBI come in the very first day of the matchup. And super easy. Yordan Alvarez is sitting on the IL. And
oh my gosh, Brian.
Yeah.
Doubleheader against the Yankees. Oh, man. And he doesn't activate him. And here's 3 RBIs. That wins the category. The double exists here. That wins the category. A walk here. That ties the category.
Probably either ties or flips on base.
Yeah, it could. It could very well.
Josh's season is back because of this decision.
Yeah.
This miss,
the very first day.
Yeah. This miss, the opening day of the second half, is potentially something that Josh Haber should be thanking his lucky stars have. For Brian's moves this week, more of the same names we've heard before. Zach Thompson, Graham Asscrack, and Brent Suter all get dropped. Picks up Phil Bickford, who was bad. He drops Bickford for Marco Gonzalez, 5 2/3. The loss, 4 bombs, a walk, 2 strikeouts, a 794 to 176 versus Houston. He drops Anthony Santander, thank you, Brian, for James Karinchak, an inning, 2 strikeouts, a 1 whip, and a relief appearance. He then adds Tommy Malone, didn't pitch. Nicky Lopez, 2 for 4 with a run and a strikeout. He drops Tommy Malone for Noe Ramirez. An inning and a third, a win, 675 and an 075. Okay. Drops Joe Kelly for Ryan Yarbrough. And when he picked that one up, I went, oh, God, no. And then he got 6 innings, the loss, 8 strikeouts, a 150 and an 067 against Baltimore. And I'm like, all right, I suppose. He drops Noe Ramirez for Chris Martin, an inning and a third, 3 strikeouts, nothing earned in a 150. He drops Tyler Clippard. Yeah, it's Phil Bickford back again, an inning, 2 strikeouts, a 1 whip, and a relief appearance for dropping Chris Martin. He drops Nicky Lopez for Harold Castro and drops Phil Bickford. I'll use 10 ads, 2 starters, 2 hitters, 6 relievers. Key players, the most valuable hitter this week for him is Jonathan India, 371 with a 450, 9 runs, 4 doubles, 3 homers, 7 RBIs, 4 walks, and 7 strikeouts. The least valuable hitter is CJ Cron. Benny went 3 for 36. That's an 083 with a 154. 3 runs, a homer, 2 RBIs, 3 walks, 14 strikeouts, and 3 errors.
Nope.
The Cy Young is Martin Perez. 14 innings, 2 wins, 5 walks, 12 strikeouts, a 129 and 086. If that man is still on the Rangers by this time tomorrow, I will be stunned.
I think he's staying. I think he's staying there.
I think he might, but then extend him.
Yeah, I think they're gonna.
Yeah.
When you think of Martin Perez, and yeah, he bounced around to the Red Sox, but you think of this guy, he was a Ranger. When he got started and he broke into the scene as a guy that's an okay number 5, maybe even you say okay, a good number 5. Texas Rangers, he comes back, feels comfortable, has a good season. Maybe they should sign him.
Maybe. I think extending him just to even be the veteran bullpen or the veteran rotation presence.
Yeah.
Right, for these young kids that are coming up, because they've got a lot of young prospects. Don't forget they just drafted Kumar Rocker to go with Jack Leiter.
Yep.
That's going to be their 1-2 of the future. The Cy Young this week for Brian is Sean Manaea. 3 1/3, a loss, 2 bombs, a walk, 4 strikeouts, a 1080 snowboarder, and a 270 whip. For Mr. Josh Haber on his bench, Benjamin, it is a 4 for 23.
Good job, Josh.
Yeah. $172.
174. 2 runs that flip the category, 2 doubles that win the category, a steal, 3 walks, and 7 strikeouts. Is it Thursday? Is it that Thursday, the 28th?
Yeah, that's the play. It's Austin Hayes instead of, I guess, Leody Taveras. Because that kind of does everything.
Yeah, here's a steal, a double, 2 runs, and some batting average to try to help him out. And yeah, Leody Taveras 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts, or 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts right here.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah.
Rough.
Tough.
His ads this week. It is going to be Didi Gregorius getting dropped for Brett Martin. Andre Palante gets dropped for Josh Staumont. An inning, a walk, a strikeout, an 18 and a 4. Caleb Thielbar gets dropped for Mitch Keller. 6 innings, a bomb, 7 strikeouts, a 450 and an 083. Mitch Keller gets dropped for Aaron Ashby. 7 innings, a loss, a homer, a walk, 9 strikeouts, a 257 and an 086 at home against Colorado. Max Meyer gets dropped for Hunter Green, 6 1/3, a loss, a walk, 6 strikeouts, a 284 and a 158 against Miami. Hunter Green gets dropped for Ryan McMahon, 1 for 2 with 3 walks on the bench. He drops Sam Mole for Jordan Lyles, 5 2/3, a win, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts, nothing earned, a 124 whip against Tampa Bay 2 minutes after Brian Lebo picked up Ryan Yarbrough in the start against him.
And I watched this game, and Yarbrough had the better start. He got the loss, and Jordan Lyles gets the win with a worse start, I think. Anyway.
He drops Ryan McMahon. He drops Jordan Lyles for Garrett Hill, and then drops Garrett Hill again, who went 5 innings, a loss, a homer, 2 walks, a strikeout, a 720 and a 160 at Toronto. Good job not starting that guy.
Yeah.
8 ads, a hitter, 5 starters, and 2 relievers. The MVP this week for him is Vladimir Guerrero. I got to look away from this 28th now. Vladimir Guerrero, 412 batting average, 487 on base, 8 runs, 5 doubles, a homer, 6 RBIs, 2 steals, 4 walks, and 6 strikeouts. The least valuable hitter is Trey Mancini, who's now a Houston Astro, apparently. Shame. I like Trey Mancini. 182 average with a 300 on base, 4 runs, a homer, 4 RBIs, 6 walks, but 10 strikeouts. Or Glaber with 3 errors and 11 strikeouts. That's the additional here.
Yeah.
Cy Young is Aaron Ashby. 7 innings, a loss, a homer, a walk, 9 strikeouts, 257 and an 086. The
You
Cy
guys
Young.
remember Andy Ashby?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's his uncle?
I think it's his uncle. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's the son of Andy Ashby, who used to pitch for the Padres.
No, that's what
Also-
I was asking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, he's Andy Ashby's son?
Nephew. I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's no relation to me.
All right. The Cy Young is Giolito's 10.13 ERA, or Trevor Rogers' 14.73 Columbus Trek, or Brett Martin's 21 points for. Oh wait, no, that's an ERA and 2 losses and 3 bombs and 4 walks. God, he was awful.
Yeah.
Yikes! This is
Yeah.
a bad pitching week from Josh Haber. Almost a 5
bad as
ERA and
mine.
a 1 1/3 WHIP. Just gross.
No, I still think that was better than mine.
It was in fact. You had one of the worst lines of the week. But that Yordan Alvarez no play could have just saved Josh's season. He does sit outside the playoff hunt right now in the Bob spot with an identical win percentage, but because his brother has more wins, it puts him in 6th place. I would love to be talking with Mike right now about what he and his brother are going through at this very moment, being this close to the playoffs, and fighting for the same spot. That's got to be insane. Ben, I will start with you here. And I don't know that this has ever happened between you and Ari, or if you could speak to this, but I just find it interesting that all of a sudden we see the brothers Haber now fighting for one playoff spot, whereas last year it was kind of their season.
Yeah, no question. And it's not too often that we actually see Josh in the race. So it's still, it's still something exciting. And I've said it on enough shows that I've come to expect him to, drop wins. And lately he hasn't. Josh is in a little bit of a slump here. But like we talked about, that non-activation of Alvarez may have really saved Josh. He's got 6 weeks to play with. He's on the verge of a win. You got to think he's overdue for one. So I still believe in Josh. I still believe he's going to find a way to get in here and be one of the 6. However, on the other side, Lebo, how about this guy, man? I mean, after I beat him just by 2, has he lost a matchup? I mean, doing away with guys like Frank and Josh. Like, I think he beat up on somebody else that was, like, having a good season recently. Bobby. I mean, all he's doing is just taking names as he goes through them because he's into it, man. He just wants it. He's hungry. And he's been like that since the beginning. I guess we shouldn't have been surprised that he wouldn't go on some kind of run. You called it, Joe. Like, you actually called this. Now, is it the kind of run that would get you in the playoffs? Probably not. It's still going to take a lot. Is he still in the hunt technically? Absolutely. With 6 weeks left, 100%. However, there are more than big wins is key wins against opponents that may end up costing them their year. And that'll be memorable. If anything, Brian has an opportunity to make his name in this season by spoiling somebody else's. In fact, even Frank in the second to last week, that could happen. This is a dangerous team right now because of the man pushing the buttons. It's it's been like an unusual year for this guy, but still solid manager. Keeps up with it, and look out for him.
He's been killing it lately, and I will give you credit where it's due, Benji. You called this one as well. He's won two of his last three. He just had a really bad 4-week stretch where he lost 15-4 to Levy, 11-9 to McCloskey, 14-4 to Christian Wood, and 10-8 to you. Those 4 weeks, coupled with a 12-7 loss to Mike Sherman 2 weeks before it started, that kind of sank his season. But what he does have coming up here, Matt Losi this week, it's a nothing matchup. It doesn't have any impact on the playoff race whatsoever. So go win it, just to say that you did it.
Yeah.
Then he's got me. Then he's got Costas. Then he's got Ari. Then he's got Frank. Then he's got Jimmy. Every single one of those guys is involved in the playoff race in some way, shape, or form, and he is not going to lose six in a row. He's not going to lose those 5 in a row. One of those guys is going to get hurt by Brian Lebo, potentially more. And that's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
For Josh, it's interesting because I look at this schedule and I think this is the schedule I think I would like to have if I were him. It's Mike Sherman this week, his brother, Chris Levy, McCloskey, Christian, and Ben in the final week. If you're going to do it, this is the way to do it. Again, he's not going to lose all 6 of those. But if the only wins come over McCloskey and, say, Christian, I don't think he's making it.
He's got to get the right wins.
He's got to get the right wins. He's got to beat his brother. Or he's got to beat Ben. One of those two he has to beat because those feel like playing games. Move on to the next matchup, gentlemen. And this one is going to be the matchup between... Ooh, something changed on a stat correction.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I did.
What happened?
Mike got edged with the average.
All right, so what we have here is...
What the hell just happened?
This batting average, 244.06 to 243.97. Initially, Bobby had won by 3 ticks. And instead, Mike gets it by less than a tick here to get an 11-9 win on a stat correction.
All right.
I don't know.
Let's just break down this matchup right now.
All right. On Sunday, it was 10-9 coming in. Steals were tied, and Mike got that. And then, obviously, Bobby was ahead in batting average. Close categories, wow. Bobby wins by a run. He doesn't win by 3 ticks on the batting average. And he wins by 2 saves. Mike wins by that steal, a relief appearance, and whatever this is of a difference. They tied in losses. I was going to say Bobby first, but no. For Mike, who won the week, Benjamin 7 for 24.
Oh, that should be pretty easy, shouldn't it? I'll go with 319.
292. 3 runs, 2 doubles, 2 RBIs, 2 walks, and 7 strikeouts. None of it plays. His moves this week, he drops Austin Slater for Edward Cabrera. He drops Albert Abreu for Trevor Stephan, an inning and a third, a win, 2 strikeouts, 3 whip, and a relief appearance. He drops Michael King, rest in peace, 2022 Michael King season. Broken elbow. Ouch. He adds Max Kepler 0 for 1 with a run, an RBI, and falls day-to-day, and I think is now out on the waiver wire.
Yeah, he's on the IL.
He drops Trevor Stephan for Scott Efros, who looked like he might end up being the closer of the Chicago Cubs and is now a Yankee. He drops Max Kepler for Bryson Stott over 4. He drops Stott for Ramon Urias over 2 with 2 walks. He drops Ross Stripling for Keegan Aiken and drops Ramon Urias for Braxton Garrett. His MVP this week is Jurickson Profar. 294 average, 385 on base, 8 runs, 3 homers, 6 RBIs, a steal, 5 walks, and 8 strikeouts. The least valuable hitter is JD Martinez. 091 and a 160 with a run, 2 doubles, 2 RBIs, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. The Cy Young is Zach Wheeler. 14 innings, a win, 2 homers, 3 walks, 14 strikeouts, a 193 ERA, and 064 whip. The Cy Young, it's got to be Michael King. Unfortunately, it's one of the highest ERAs on the team, but you also lost this guy, and he lost you a game. So rest in peace, that guy's season. Sorry, it happened.
Before we move on, when we talk about his moves, do we talk about the trade?
Yeah, we should, in fact, reference that trade. Let's do that after I go over his opponent's team, and then we'll get to that. All right?
Great.
Dope. For Bobby on his bench, Benjamin. Oh, this is a good one. 33 for 93.
Wow.
That's
Man, I really don't want to do the breakdown here. It's 33. Three, 3, 20, 323.
355. 14 runs, 5 doubles, 3 homers, 12 RBIs, 3 steals, 5 walks, 22 strikeouts, and an error. I guess now we can say literally any hit. And one of the 3 steals. So let's find somebody. Oh, I think the whole entire answer is Andrew Benintendi for about the first 5 days of the matchup, where he was on the NA and just stayed there and was going off 2 for 4 with an RBI, 1 for 4 with a steal, 1 for 4, 3 for 5 with 2 RBIs and a steal. Like, those 4 days, if you're playing Benintendi, you're winning you're winning steals, you're winning batting average. Why is that guy not playing?
Yeah. What? I got to know the answer to that.
I don't have the answer to it. I just don't.
Yeah.
For his moves this week, he drops Glenn Otto and Jason Alexander. So he drops the insurance and a character from Seinfeld. He drops Jackie Bradley Jr.
An
and Edge.
actor from Seinfeld.
Oh, I thought the character's name was Jason Alexander. Never mind. Added Yuli Gurriel, 1 for 3 with a run.
I want to turn this off so bad and get out of here right now. I swear.
1 for 3 with a run and a steal from Yuli Gurriel. He drops Isaiah Kiner-Falefa for Nathaniel Lowe, 2 for 4 with a run, a triple, a homer, an RBI, and a strikeout because, of course. He drops Nathaniel Lowe for Caleb Smith, who was benched on a 2-inning relief appearance, and he lost relief appearances by 1. Added Paolo Espino, 4 2/3, 2 bombs, a walk, 2 strikeouts, a 7.71 and a 171. He dropped Yuli Gurriel for Paul Blackburn, 5 innings, 4 strikeouts, and a 1 whip. He drops Dennis Santana for Mitch Keller, 6 innings, a bomb, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, a 150 and a 133. He dropped all 3 of those guys I just mentioned that he picked up. He had Sam Long, who doesn't pitch, Austin Davis, 1 inning, 2 strikeouts, 2 whip, and a relief appearance, and Brent Suter, who was picked up on Sunday, not started, and benched, and had the tying relief appearance with an inning and a strikeout. His MVP this week is Mookie Betts. 271 with a 352 on base, 8 runs, a double, a triple, 3 homers, 5 RBIs, a steal, 5 walks, and only 3 strikeouts in 11 goddamn days. Jarren Duran is the least valuable hitter, 188 and a 235, 4 runs, a double, a triple, 2 walks, 14 strikeouts. And the Cy Young is Brandon Woodruff, 12 1/3, 2 wins, 3 walks, 17 strikeouts, a 146 and an 089. The Cy Young is Pat Sandoval, 8 2/3, 2 losses, 4 walks, 10 strikeouts, a 727 airplane, and a 185 whip. Yikes. Let's talk about Bobby here for a moment because I think it's worth addressing here that there's some pretty big misses here this week from him. And in the hunt, he's in the middle of this playoff hunt. And I very badly want to see him make it. And yet we see this. And it is costing him categories. And it is costing him the ability to make this thing. Isn't it, Ben?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we could probably go through the season and count 2 handfuls of times where there probably was an opportunity to get someone in just to catch a couple of extra stats here and there, and you win a category as a result. And those are the big difference when you're just treading water in a race. You know, we know that at the end, we talk about it every year, someone is going to be heartbroken, if not a couple of people. Last year, Bobby was one of those people. Met up with him at a concert and he said to me, and it was while I was playing you in the semifinals, Joe, and he said, man, I was salty about that. Yeah, like he takes it seriously. And I will say this about Bobby. He's aware of how critical those misses are, you know, and how they could be costly. So he's kicking himself, I'm sure. He's aware of it, and it's whether he can just, you know, maybe the team picks him up, you know, to an extent in the last 6 weeks. If they just explode, he doesn't really have to be on top of it as much. Or the opposite happens, which is that, you know, he's just dealing with the fact that he can't get to it in time and it's costing him stats. Like, you hope it's not the antithesis. You hope that his team just produces, and he runs away to the playoffs. That can still happen. So we love the manager. We know he's brilliant. His activity, he hasn't been as on top of it this season. It's been a busier season off the field for him. But then you look at the other direction. It was the guy playing him, you know, and it was a back and forth to an extent. Mike had the lead most of the time. It kind of felt like Mike Haber was going to win this matchup. Mike Haber, it's a foregone conclusion. He's probably in the playoffs anyway. So to me, all he did was kind of push away Bobby away from the playoffs, which as you know, a manager, I'm appreciating right now. So Mike Haber, dangerous as hell, started cold, but I think we knew it was going to happen once he caught fire, once he made the right trades with the right people. That's all he did. I don't think he's made one poor trade this year. Now, did he use all 6? Or did he use 5?
No, I think that was 5 for him. This most recent one that we have to talk about at this point.
Sure,
Yeah, because
It's the only deadline deal here this year. It was a pretty surprising one. And Jason, I'm going to let you weigh in on this one because I think both of these guys have been on your team at one point or another.
they have.
Logan
drafted
Gilbert
Profar.
for sure. I didn't know if you had Jurickson Profar.
I drafted him.
You drafted Profar. Well, then here you are. How do you feel about these guys?
Yeah. Look, I think it's a great deal for both managers. I think it solves things that both of them needed. You know, if you look at it from a player-to-player standpoint, Frank basically turned Chris Bryant into Logan Gilbert into Jurickson Profar. So I feel like I don't know, but for Mike landing Logan Gilbert like that, I think that's huge. As he's right on the cusp there of the playoffs, to add that guy into your rotation, good luck to you guys.
It's going to be interesting because this is probably one of those deals that we'll look back on and say, yeah, it helped both guys, but maybe it helped one more than the other based on where they finish, because this is really going to be one of those that we point to and go, well, those guys were both in the hunt and traded with each other, and one went one way and the other went the other way, or they both went in the same direction, or whatever it is. This will impact what happens to them for the rest of this season. Ben, I ask you this question. The schedule the rest of the way for Bobby. This week he has Levy, then McCloskey, Christian, yourself, Jimmy, and finishes with Jason. Is this a schedule that Bobby can translate into a playoff win? Into making the playoffs?
I think so. There's obviously some tough ones out there, but what I will say is because he is playing me and he is playing Christian, he controls his own destiny to an extent. If he beats both of us, his chances of getting in are much higher, especially against Christian. So I guess that'll. It's an interesting schedule. Having James McCloskey right there, a lot of that kind of depends on what James McCloskey does against me. Like if James McCloskey's cold against me, well, what does that mean? Does that mean he's going to stay cold, or is he going to heat up just in time to play Bobby? So look for Bobby to still make a little bit of a run here, and I think the one thing that maybe he might have needed to do was be a little bit more active towards the deadline. I mean, maybe he had a flaw that he needed to fix. Did Bobby make a trade this year? Like, it's just surprising. He's usually a little. I mean, I feel like he's made a trade every other season. So this is just one of those years.
Yeah. Jason, I'll give you Mike Haber's schedule the rest of the way. It's going to be you this week, and then his brother, Matt Losi, me, Costas, and finishes with Ari. Is Mike Haber, as Ben just said, a foregone conclusion to be a playoff team?
It does anybody that can weather that schedule. It's Mike Haber. Like I feel like that's a mostly tough schedule. I mean, there's a couple winnables in there, but I think there's some tough matchups in there. But it's Mike Haber. I have to. If I had to make a choice, if I had to give an answer, like I think he makes the playoffs. I can't count him out. Like if I'm wrong and he misses it, I feel good about saying that he's going to make it because it's Mike Haber. I just can't count him out. I did find the stat correction.
Okay.
It was on the very first day of the matchup. Riley Green was credited with a hit.
Well, there it is.
There it is.
All right. Yeah, I can totally see Mike making the playoffs too, and it's really. I think the word is annoying. Ben, will you go with me on annoying?
It's different for you than for me because it's just since 2009, it's been a thing.
Mm-hmm.
He missed it the 1 year in 2017. It was like what, and then he went right back.
Went right back into the playoffs.
Went back in the year for 2 years in a row, and then into 2020, he doesn't make it. Okay, it's 6 weeks. If you give him one more week, he's probably in. So it's Mike Haber. I just, as far down as he is, I just come to expect that he's one of those guys that's going to be in. It's just that, now it's a cool decade since he's won a championship. 2012 against me in the final, and all these playoff appearances, like a lot of semifinals. The other final was the following year to go for back-to-back against Greg Drobnis. The final against me in 2019. There's been a ton of semifinals. It's just
and last year is incredibly well documented.
Forever remembered, never forgotten. Yes. And he'll be competing for another one. Maybe it's just the Kansas City Royals coming off the 2014 and then running it back in 2015. You saw what happened. Just might be the same thing for Mike Haber from 2021 into 22.
I'll finish this off by saying Mike Haber had a horrible first 6 weeks, and that's the 6 weeks he's about to embark upon in his schedule. The reason Mike was at the bottom because after 6 weeks, he had only won 2 matchups, one of them 13-6, the other 11-7, and in that time, 12-7 loss, 16-5 loss, 14-7 loss, 11-9 loss. Those 4 were ugly. And those 4 losses were to Jason, his brother, myself, and Costas. He sees all 4 of them again.
Yeah.
If it's not going to happen, it's going to be because he repeats the same schedule. Maybe he doesn't match up well against the 6 of us somehow. I don't know. But if he's not going to make it, it will be because of this 6 weeks. And that's awesome. To happen to be a part of that. If he doesn't make the playoffs, it'll be 1/6 my fault.
Yeah, the tone in your voice is like you really don't want him to be. It's almost like you have contempt for the co-host here.
I don't. I love Mike. Mike is one of the best friends I have on this planet.
I'm just teasing.
I just don't want to see him in the playoffs. I don't. So I'm going for number 5.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Another spoiler this week, guys. James McCloskey doing his job here. 11-6 win over Christian Wood. On Sunday, it was actually 11-8 James, and he ended up doing some things here. Doubles. James had a 1 double lead, and Christian tied that. Homers were tied, and McCloskey took that. Christian had a 4 2/3 inning lead, and James took that. Wins. Christian had a 1 win lead, and James tied that up. And finally, James had a 3 walk given up by a pitcher advantage, and he ended up tying that with Christian. Close categories. Christian wins by 2 steals and a loss. James wins by 2 runs, 2 homers, a walk, a strikeout, 3 1/3 innings, and they tied in doubles, triples, wins, and walks. For McCloskey on his bench, Ben. James went 6 for 40.
Man. Well, good job, firstly. That's a very impressive bench.
Mhm.
So impressive that I can't even calculate it. 144? I have no idea.
150.
You were there.
Yeah. 3 runs, 2 doubles, 3 RBIs, 2 steals, 3 walks, and 7 strikeouts. Obviously, the doubles play. And, I'm just going to go ahead and point this one out. And I want to bring you guys back to a conversation that we were having in our group text. And to everyone listening at home, if I had your phone number this past week, who was my pick to click this week, guys?
Brandon Rogers?
Well, there was that one, but there was another one.
Oh, sorry.
Chad Pinder.
Oh, yes.
I sent out to literally everybody. I said, Chad Pinder's gonna get a hit. Do with that information what you want. Well, guess who picked up Chad Pinder this week? James McCloskey did. He listened to me. But look at the grand slam on the bench, bro.
Oops.
Ouch.
Yeah.
That one hurts. And Nelson Cruz had the double that would have won him that category.
Oh.
Yikes.
But he wasn't in the lineup, so I can't hold that.
Yeah, you can't get mad at him.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Pinder was after the game had started. He hit the grand slam, and then he picked him up. Okay. That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. It's the double that matters.
The double.
Yeah. Okay. For his moves this week, he drops Yuli Gurriel, and he drops Josh Lowe for Chad Pinder, who the day I did say to pick him up, he went 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts, but he did hit a grand slam the next day. He added Austin Nola, 0 for 3 with a walk and a strikeout. He dropped Austin Nola. He added David Peralta, 0 for 3 with a run, a walk, and a strikeout. He dropped David Peralta. He added Danny Jansen, 0 for 3 with a strikeout, and he's dropped Danny Jansen. That's it. His MVP this week is Hunter Renfroe. That guy, 316 average, 366 on base, 7 runs, 6 bombs, 14 stakes, a walk, 9 strikeouts, and 2 errors. I think you take the 9 and the 2 on that when you're getting 6 and 14.
Can't believe we're mentioning this guy as an MVP this
year. Go figure. Go figure.
Right.
Nelson Cruz is the least valuable hitter, 133 and a 188, a run, a double, 2 RBIs, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. The Cy Young is Carlos Carrasco. Woohoo! 12 2/3, a win, 4 walks, 8 strikeouts, nothing earned, and a 111 whip. The Cy Yuck is Robbie Ray, 5 2/3, 2 losses, 3 homers, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts, a Spanish Armada 15.88 ERA, and a 3.35 whip.
Wow.
Yeah, that's hideous. That's hideous.
That's over 2 starts, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's terrible.
That's the reigning Cy Young Award winner. They were against Houston and Houston.
Yeah. And
I
then
don't
now they
think
went
he
out and
should
got
start
Luis
against
Castillo.
Houston.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ben, for Christian on his bench, he went 12 for 55.
Oh, you're so close to making it easy on me. Give me the number one more time, please.
12 for 55.
Thank you.
Yep.
225.
218. You're in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
5 runs, 2 doubles, a triple, 4 RBIs, 3 walks, and 11 strikeouts. Double and the triple and the 3 walks. They all play. And this is the story about Myles Straw. I want to tell you guys a story about Myles Straw. Ready? Here we go. Let's tell the story about Myles Straw. Myles Straw on the 22nd, which was the first Friday. Here he is on the bench, 1 for 4 with a run scored. It's impossible to get him in. He's center field only eligible, so shuffling around your outfield doesn't do you much. And everybody else that you can move him for played well, so you're not doing that. However, Myles Straw the next day on the 23rd, well, that's when he had the triple on the bench and 2 more runs, an RBI, and a strikeout. Well, here's Isaac Paredes not in the lineup. Arenado in the utility spot. Yeah. Then we go to the 26th. Look at this. JJ Bleday 0 for 5 here. Garcia's in center field. He was good. Myles Straw 1 for 4 with a run. Okay, you don't want to play that guy. That's fine. 27th is another really bad one because he's 2 for 4, 2 doubles, 2 RBIs, and a strikeout. And let's see, Taylor Ward. Yeah, that's the guy. Taylor Ward, 0 for 4, 2 strikeouts. You can move Garcia.
Yeah.
His moves this week. He dropped Jose Urania for Tyler Rogers, an inning, a strikeout, a 1 whip, and a relief appearance. He dropped Tyler Rogers for Steven Matz, 5 1/3, a win, a walk, 7 strikeouts, a 3.38, and an 0.75. He added Yan Gomes. That day he had the red X. He dropped Jace Peterson for Taylor Walls, over 3 with a walk and 3 strikeouts. He dropped Steven Matz for Jake McGee, an inning, a strikeout, and a relief appearance. He dropped Spencer Watkins for JJ Bleday, 1 for 4, a run, a double, and 2 strikeouts. He dropped Roansy Contreras for Jansen Feel My Junk, 5 innings, a walk, 8 strikeouts, and a 1 whip. He dropped Jake McGee for Graham Ashcraft, 6 2/3, a homer, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, a 4.05, and a 150. And he dropped Taylor Walls. His MVP this week, Benjamin, is a man.
Total moves, please.
What's that?
Total.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ads. 4 to go. His MVP this week is a man near and dear to your heart, Benjamin. It's Adolis Garcia, 290 average with a 313, 3 runs, a homer, 2 RBIs, a walk, and 9 strikeouts. The least valuable hitter is JJ Bleday, who looks like he's still on the roster. Where is he? Am I missing it?
Right field.
There we go.
There. Yep.
143 with a 172, 3 runs, 2 doubles, a homer, an RBI, a walk, 11 strikeouts. Gross.
Yeah.
His Cy Young is Edwin Diaz. 4 1/3, 3 saves, 9 strikeouts, nothing earned, an 0.23 whip, and 4 relief appearances. Benjamin Nisman, I am going to dare you to name a closer better than Edwin Diaz in the major leagues.
There isn't one on the stat chart, I guess, that you can say is better. I have my opinion about Edwin Diaz that frustrates many Met fans, so I'll keep it to myself tonight.
His Cy Young is Josiah Gray. 10 innings, a loss, 3 homers, 4 walks, 12 strikeouts, a 630, and a 140. Gentlemen, McCloskey doing work as well. Hats off to him. Credit to both he and McCloskey, or he and Lebo for we're playing spoiler this year and playing it very well. You are, in fact, impacting every single. There are some things to be desired with all of these, with especially with both of these teams. The moves that Christian made, seeing the close categories that happened there, and you lose a couple on Sunday. I think you might have wanted something else to go with here, especially early on in the week. The Miles Straw play is very disappointing. And for James, I saw a dude who was trying to plug in a couple of little holes and got a tip from a friend that worked for the end of the week. Like just some things that happen, and you end up getting a good solid win. Benji, what'd you see this week?
I just, I saw that McCloskey had Christian in check most of the week, and he never relinquished the lead. I could tell that Christian was fighting. I was looking when I would make an ad. I'd see that Pineda Coladas would make an ad. And I'm like, okay, he's still trying to fight him, but I don't know exactly what the midpoint would be between where James McCloskey is in California and where Brian Lebo is in Washington State. But whatever that midpoint is, I want to meet those two gentlemen there and have dinner on my dime, because I owe them a great deal for the hard work they've been doing over a month, keeping me in this race. I think I might be done if it wasn't for these guys. So if I get in the playoffs, I owe these two gentlemen big time, because they have been unbelievable. And obviously, Christian, he's treading water here. He can still very well get into the playoffs. He controls his destiny with his schedule. But, I mean, McCloskey was just awesome, and he's been awesome lately. I feel like he's been really good. Since I feel like the loss to Frank, I think since then, McCloskey has been basically fire. So, hate that I have to play this guy right now. I'm already pitching like crap, but, it's another impressive win from McCloskey. I like that it's the two out of the three guys that are coming like in the league this year that weren't in it last year going against each other here. And just love what McCloskey brings as a manager, as a general manager, always making good ads. And we'll see what happens here. I think Christian finds his way into the playoffs somehow. If I had to make a guess, that intuition he has, I think it comes back that he had in the beginning part of the season. He finds fire towards the end.
Jason, McCloskey's schedule to finish out here is, in fact, Ben, Bobby, yourself, Josh Haber, Matt Losi, and finishes the season facing me. It's daunting, but he can do some damage here.
He can hurt some people, and he can make some noise here. Like Ben said, he's an experienced manager. He's been in this league before. He knows how to do it. So even if he's playing spoiler, he'll play spoiler.
Yeah, and you know what? It's really just this run recently that he's really tailed off.
Yep.
Because other than like the whooping he took from Ari 16-5 and the loss he took from Mike Sherman 14-5, those are the two bad losses on his record. Otherwise, he's been pretty competitive every single week. It'll be interesting.
I will just say, like, I do have concerns about Christian, like,
I do
because I feel like he's giving a lot of playing time to guys like JJ Bleday and Isaac Paredes, guys who are just not performing. And I know he's missing Bryce Harper, and he hasn't really been able to find that replacement, or at least that substitute. But I don't know. I'm just worried that he's giving guys a little too much playing time that are just not performing, or not. JJ Bleday can be sent down to AAA any minute.
Yeah, the thing I continue to notice is that he's still hanging on to these dudes who were hot in April, May, and maybe early June that have just not been performing anymore.
Yeah.
Rowdy Tellez and Josh Naylor are, I mean, what are they anymore?
Right.
Like Josh Naylor does have an injury right now. He still is hitting 280. But how long is that going to last? And Rowdy Tellez is still hitting 220. Like I just don't think that these particular pieces, along with the other pieces that got him to where he was after week 6, Taylor Ward is a good example of this. Tellez is a good example of this. Paredes, Adames, Foreman. Like it's essentially the vast majority of his offense. Go get some new pieces. Like go play with some new toys. Like there are more toys to play with. I don't know.
Find somebody who's hot, and that's what
Yeah.
you got to do.
His schedule the rest of the way: Jimmy this week, then Benjamin, Bobby, Jason, Josh, and finishes with Matt Losi.
Yikes! Basically, yikes.
And
Yeah.
he has not won a matchup since week 11 against Brian Lebo, 14-4, and he has lost 8 of his last 9 matchups.
What do you think?
I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. I just
Yeah.
don't. It could very well be a free fall. If we could absolutely see this as like the hot team that had all the dudes from April and May, and this dude finishes under 500 and in the consolation bracket is like the 11th seed.
Yeah.
Like maybe he doesn't know how to adjust over the long haul. I don't know. If we see it year after year after year, then there you go.
The problem. Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to the next matchup here. Hi, Frank. Welcome to the podcast. Glad you're tuning in. Welcome to your matchup against Matt Losi. It was 11-8, a big win for Frank. It saves his season at this point. I think if we're honest, Frank would have liked it to be a little bit bigger against the last place team, but a win's a win, and you just take it, put it in your back pocket, and hope it's starting momentum. On Sunday, it was actually 10-8, but on Sunday, Matt untied the triples, but he gave up some walks for Frank to take that category. Close categories, Frank wins by 2 steals. He wins by 2 walks that I mentioned, 15 ticked on the whip, and 4 relief appearances. Matt wins by that triple and an error. They tied in runs and losses. For Frank on the bench, Benjamin, going to be 8 for 22.
Huh. Well, I know that Frank is probably a little frustrated by that. I wonder if any of it plays firstly before we get any further. I'll go with 357.
364, fairly close. 3 runs, which would have won him the category: a homer, 2 RBIs, a steal, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. It's just the 3 runs that would have played here. He doesn't lose the category. Jason, you did the research here. Where is it?
He would have been perfect. I mean, he'll need 1, but like it was tough to get in. Like he left a Matt Carpenter home run on the bench on the 23rd, but like I don't know. You're not putting him in for Starling Marte, who had an offer, but like so I don't know where you're putting him in.
It's not Andres Jimenez in a doubleheader.
Right.
It's not Andrew Vaughn in a doubleheader.
So
maybe
like
Christian Walker is the answer, but he went 2 for 4 apparently.
Yeah. So again, it's tough. It's a tough way to get in. There was one on the 30th, but again, I don't think there was. It was Adam Frazier on the bench. Again, you're not putting him in over Starling Marte. Ian Happ had a 4 strikeout day, so maybe you do that. But
you just traded for that dude, and I'm certainly believing that you're going to start him over Adam Frazier.
Right, and I think Adam Frazier was going against Houston. I think was that the Verlander.
It very well could have been the Verlander start.
It was Framber Valdez. It was Framber Valdez. I wouldn't have started Frazier against Valdez either.
No.
Yeah.
All right. For his moves, he drops Eddie Rosario and picks up Adam Frazier. He also dropped Jesus Luzardo. He picked up Gene Segura. He drops Christian Walker for Dustin May. He trades Logan Gilbert for Jurickson Profar. We talked about that. He drops Tyler Wells for Heimer Candelario over 4 with a strikeout and an error. He drops Candelario for Cionel Perez, an inning, a walk, 2 strikeouts, a 1 whip, and a relief appearance, and adds Cavan Biggio over 4 with 2 strikeouts. And then he dropped Biggio. 6 adds, 4 hitters, a starter, and a reliever. His MVP this week is Austin Riley. 16 for 34. That's a 471 with a 500 on base. 6 runs, 9 doubles, 2 homers, 7 RBIs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, and an error. The least valuable hitter is Andrew Vaughn, 148 with a 207, 3 runs, 2 doubles, an RBI, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. The Cy Young is Yu Darvish, 14 innings, a win, 2 walks, 20 strikeouts, a 193 and an 086. And the Cy Young, Joe Mantiply, maybe? I mean, he pitched really well. Like really well.
He did.
Really well. Yeah, I guess it's Joe Mantiply with his loss.
I mean, he pitched a 2.72 ERA.
Or Strickland with the loss, but he had 2 saves.
Yeah.
A starting pitcher that was just terrible?
No. There wasn't.
No.
Mm-mm.
I mean, Corbin Burns had a 4.09 ERA.
That was the worst from a starter. Over 2 starts with 16 strikeouts.
Yeah.
All right. For Matt Losi on his bench, Benjamin, it is 12 for 41.
Let's see. 12 for 41, you say?
Yes, sir.
296.
293.
Wow.
14 runs would have won the category.
Oh.
2 doubles, 7 homers, 12 RBIs, 2 steals, which would have tied the category, 6 walks and 11 strikeouts. Jason, I think you're going to say exactly why Ben just lost his damn mind. What is it? And don't say it's not Matt Chapman. It's not Matt Chapman. That's not what he's losing his mind about.
Raimel Tapia. What?
So it's Ohtani, isn't it, Ben?
Oh, Ohtani. Yeah.
It's the 26th. It's Ohtani. It's such a swing. It's such a swing, this one play. We saw it with Yordan Alvarez and Brian Lebo's matchup, right? Yep. We're seeing it here. Ohtani, 2 runs, a homer, an RBI, a steal, 2 walks, and a strikeout on the bench in favor of Matt Chapman. And all you got to do is shuffle things up here and get Tapia out of the lineup.
Yeah, you move
You can
Drury
still play
around.
all the dudes you want and just get the guy who's not playing out of the lineup.
By the way, do you guys remember me calling it in the thread before the game started?
Yes.
Yep. Sure did.
And the Reds played. I'm sorry. The Blue Jays played way before the Angels did.
Oh,
so
yeah.
No. There was. I was looking at the lineup. I'm like, it's
one's
just
on
shuffling.
Yeah, one's an East Coast team and one's on the West Coast, usually playing at night. Like
the Reds and the Blue Jays, because that's what you're looking at, really, is right. You're moving Drury to right field, so there's plenty of time to move Drury into right field. Yeah.
All day.
Yeah.
All day.
Yeah.
And it's just the bigs that it would come back to, like, that one will come back to bite because that's the runs you need.
But like all week, Matt Chapman, he needs to drop this guy because he cannot figure out Matt Chapman. Like all week, he was in the lineup and he was bad. He was out of the lineup, he was good. It just never worked.
Bad.
And then
really bad.
the Raimel Tapia, right? He
benched him during the 28-5 ball game.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, it was just bad. It was just a bad week for his bench, and it does absolutely sting that 14 runs are on the bench and you tied that category.
Yeah.
If Frank makes the playoffs by a game, he owes Matt Losi dinner. His moves this week: he drops Max Castillo for Rob Refsnyder. He drops Refsnyder for Tapia. He adds Jose Leclerc. He drops Jose Ruiz for Will Vest and drops Jose Leclerc for Steve Cishek. 5 adds, 2 hitters, 3 relievers. His MVP. Go ahead.
4 of those guys did not play the day that he picked them up, and the other guy, it was before the week started. So none of those guys played the day that he picked them up, which I thought was interesting.
Nice. His MVP this week is Xander Bogaerts. 314 average, 415 on base, 3 runs, 4 doubles, a homer, 8 RBIs, 2 steals, 5 walks, 12 strikeouts. The least valuable hitter is Why is G-Man Choi still rostered? 135 average, 154 on base, a run, a homer, 5 RBIs, a walk, 10 strikeouts, and an error. The Cy Young is Ranger Suarez. 11 innings, 2 walks, 12 strikeouts, nothing earned, and no 82 whip. Good job grabbing that dude off of free agency and giving him a home, not a playoff team. Like, these are the things we look for in spoilers, and that's a good ad. Give credit where that's due.
Yes,
Eli
absolutely.
Morgan also fits that bill. 3 relief appearances. He is a Cy Young, however. 2 2/3, 2 strikeouts, a 13.50 and a 2.25. But otherwise, this dude as an SP eligible reliever who's going to be setting up Emmanuel Clase. That's another dude that absolutely deserves a home. And he's got a few dudes like that. Like Lucas Luetge I went looking for the other day and found out he was here. Jalen Beeks is chilling out here. Brock Burke ended up on this guy's team. Like, he put together a bullpen. Like, it's not the greatest one, but it's the best he could do with the scraps he had. And credit to him for putting it together. Credit to him for playing competitively. Does not get the win here against Frank. This is absolutely a great win for Frank. Don't you think, Ben?
Yeah, because he managed really well, and he should be proud of the work that he did do. Does he get away with that one category, ends up being tied instead of losing it? He does. I just don't know if, that stat ends up being the big difference here. So do I look at this as a big win? Maybe not the same way that you do, Joe, because I think that when you're playing a guy like this that's in last place, yeah, you better not lose. Like, I guarantee that, but a double up is kind of necessary when you have all these teams to jump here. Is it more important to double up a guy like a me, even though I'm not on the schedule, but for example, a Jimmy, right, who's on, in front of him? Yeah, but the biggest problem with Frank right now, the biggest, is he does not control his destiny. He really just plays guys that he can't really, it doesn't really matter. It's Ari and Sherman, Costas, Jimmy U. I mean, he needs too much help. That's the biggest problem. Like, he can win out, but even if he wins out, he doesn't necessarily get in if everybody else is winning. So it's a tough spot to be in right now. He probably needed a bigger win this week, but we'll give him credit where it's due. And for Matt Losi, all things considered, somewhat of a spoiled job here because it wasn't a double up. So give Matt credit where it's Matt credit where it's due for, at least chipping away at this. Could have been worse. I saw 12-6 at one point. I saw 12-7 at one point. I saw a bigger lead from Frank at one point, 11-8. I mean, that's as good of a spoil job from a last place team that you can expect. At this point, Frank, desperate need of a win on Joe right now.
He's getting me at the right time. I haven't lost in about 6 or 7 weeks, which has been really nice. And I saw him due. He comes off of 2 straight wins here. He does get a really big win over Josh Haber a couple of weeks ago, which was very helpful in getting him back into the hunt. This win does as well. As I said, a big win from the case of you needed to win while some of the other guys in the hunt were losing or going very close to tying this week. Ari, Bobby, Mike Haber. You needed to get a win while those guys were still doing their thing. Jason Ashby, you did the research on this one, aside from the Ohtani benching and the Chapman. What did you see from Frank here that we can really key in on?
Yeah, I definitely got the sense that he knew he was playing against a team that he didn't need to do a whole lot against. Like, all of his moves came in the last couple of days, and there was a Gene Segura, Dustin May, like guys on the IL. The score was really close. Like Ben said, the score was really close all week long. Maybe try and make another ad somewhere that can give you another stat or two and try and get a bigger lead over a last place team that you do need to win. And like Ben said, the rest of the way, he doesn't have, he's not in his own destiny. So he needs to do as best as he can against a team like this where he can. And I just wonder if there was another move or two that he could have made He only used 6 this week, and
Mhm.
again, 2 of those were for guys that aren't playing. So that's the only thing that caught my eye.
Yeah, I mean, if we don't include the trade, because that doesn't affect it until this week, it's 4 dudes that he added to his team to improve it. 2 of which, only one of which is a pitcher.
Yeah.
I don't see any. I mean, he pitched beautifully. He pitched wonderfully. Both of them did. Like this is a great long matchup to look at and go like, wow, these guys really pitched well.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna find something, it has to be on the hitting side. He did add 3 guys. Yes, Heimer Candelario 0 for 4 with a strikeout and an error. That loses you the error category, and like you're just getting empty nothing, and you got an empty nothing from Cavan Biggio. Those are the 2 days where that's the difference. If you get a run from one of those pickups those days, that's your W. That's your W in that category.
Yeah.
So I think it literally just I think the difference honestly between like a 12-7 would or a 12-8 would feel a lot better than an 11-8. Would you guys agree with me on that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
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 So I think that's the difference here. It's just he just made the wrong choices that day. And it cost and if he ties errors, it becomes 12-7 if he doesn't play that Heimer Candelario bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Like just make a better choice that day.
Yeah.
Sucks. All right, Jason. This is it. This is the one. It's the last one of the week. We're going to talk about your matchup with Mike Sherman. We've been saying all season on this show that Mike Sherman's team is a pain in the ass, and here he is, 11-8 with a win. On Sunday, it was actually 13-8, so credit to you for getting a couple back. He had a 1-homer lead, and you tied that. He had a 3-inning lead, and you got that one. Yet you had a 1 home run advantage, and you tied that category up for. Those categories, you win by the error, 5 innings, and a win. Mike Sherman wins by a run, a triple, a home, and the triple, 3 RBIs, and 2 steals. The ties are in the home runs and the home runs. Home runs with 10, home runs with 9. Ben, are you still with me?
Yes, I am. I'm listening.
Terrific. For Mr. Sherman on his bench this week, he is 10 for 45.
Is it 225?
It's 222. 7 runs, a double, 4 RBIs, 5 walks, 11 strikeouts, and an error. None of the plays. Yeah, none of the
I
plays.
should have known that.
His moves, he drops Ryan Thompson for Yoan Moncada. He adds Josh Winkowski, 5 innings, a win, a homer, a walk, a strikeout, 3.60 ERA, and a 1.60 whip. He drops Ryan Brazier for Brian Shaw, 2 innings, 3 walks, a strikeout, a 9 ERA, and a 2.50 whip. That's it. His MVP this week is DJ LeMahieu, 333 with a 435, 9 runs, a double, 3 homers, 7 RBIs, 7 walks, and 6 strikeouts. The least valuable hitter, Eugenio Suarez, 143 with a 250 on base, 2 runs, 3 walks, 9 strikeouts, and an error.
Enjoy that guy.
Yeah. Jason finally got off that thing. The Cy Young is Julio Urias, 13 innings, 2 wins, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts, a 138 and an 062. The Cy Young I'm giving to Holby Milner, 2 2/3, 3 strikeouts, a 1688. I feel like that has something to do with Plymouth or Jamestown. Go with me on it. And a 225 whip with 4 relief appearances. For Jason this week, Benjamin, Jason went 5 for 28.
Damn
there were no easy ones to play.
No,
Sorry.
not even one. None. Not really.
Sorry.
I'll go with 163.
179. 7 runs, 2 homers, 3 RBIs, 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts. Jason, it hurts to say this, but yeah, there was a time not that long ago where we were talking about how large your testicles were for benching Kyle Schwarber. And yet
Uh-huh.
this week you benched Kyle Schwarber, and here, sir, is
Yep.
the winning home run, the tying run, and another RBI.
That was a kick in the very large testicles. Yes.
Yeah, and here's Alex Kirilloff with the 0 for 4.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, I think that was against Max Fried, and I didn't like the lefty-lefty matchup. So
Okay. All right. So then maybe the next day when
Yeah.
Jose Miranda has a home run on the bench
Yep.
and Aledmys Diaz is here.
I don't have a reason for that one. But
Yikes.
yeah,
Yikes.
that's the point.
All right, we're gonna talk moves. Yeah, I dropped Matt Brash and that kid who just got traded to the Brewers, Ruiz. I don't know how to pronounce his. You had a Blake Trinan who's on the IL. You dropped Ryan McMahon for Braxton Garrett. 6 innings, a win, a homer, a walk, 7 strikeouts, a 150, and an 050. You added Zach Thompson, 5 1/3, a loss, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, an 1181, and a 206. You dropped Zach Thompson for Carson Kelly, 1 for 3, a 2-run home run. I'm sorry, 2 runs, a home run, an RBI, a walk, and a strikeout. You dropped Eduardo Rodriguez. You dropped Luis Patino for Jesus Luzardo. You dropped Nolan Jones for Jose Miranda, 3 for 4, a run, a double, and 2 RBIs. That was the day you picked him up. But that was not the day you benched him. That was the next day. You dropped Blake Trinan for Ryan Thompson, an inning and a third, a strikeout, and a relief appearance. You dropped Braxton Garrett for Clark Schmidt, 3 innings, a save, a walk, 5 strikeouts, a 1 whip, and a relief appearance. If they're going to actually start doing that regularly with that kid, that could be a really nice weapon, dude.
Yeah, but they're not because they just sent him back down to AAA.
Yeah, because they made a billion moves for pitchers.
Yeah. So
Well, shit. Okay.
fuck the Yankees.
And fuck that Steve Cishek pitch off of the bat of Francisco Lindor. It is 7. You dropped Alex Kirilloff for Nolan Jones, over 3 with a strikeout. You dropped Aledmys Diaz for David Fletcher, 1 for 4 with a strikeout. You dropped Kyle Gibson for Dane Dunning, 6 innings, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, a 3 ERA, and a 1.67 whip. I believe you used all 12?
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
The MVP this week is Chris Bryant, 324 with a 4.10, 6 runs, 4 doubles, a homer, 2 RBIs, 4 walks, 7 strikeouts, an error, and a trip to the IL again.
Now he has plantar fasciitis. Great. Well, I got what I could from him. That's it.
Wow.
That guy's a fucking bum.
Yeah.
The least valuable hitter is Nolan Jones, 150 with a 227, 2 runs, a double, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. The Cy Young is Framber Valdez, 13 2/3, a win, 2 walks, 15 strikeouts, a 395, and a 110. The Cy Young is Domingo Germán. You gonna hang on to this dude?
I think so. He's pitching well
Okay.
tonight. Yeah.
All right, 3 innings, a loss, 2 homers, a walk, 2 strikeouts, a 15, and a 233. All right.
Yeah.
Well, it could have been a nice spoil here from you, Jason, to sort of
Yeah.
officially put Mike Sherman's season to bed. However, here we are. It's been an interesting season. You guys are one on top of the other in the standings. How are we? How are you feeling after 15 weeks and a long week against Mike Sherman, Jason?
Yeah, that was such a long week, and the fact that he really didn't do anything, which I knew this is Mike Sherman's game. That he's not going to make any moves. I definitely, if I could do it again, I would do my ads better and try to manage them better. I used a lot in the first half of the week. I feel like, so I didn't have any come Sunday. So I would like to have done that better, but I ran into some trouble with like the Nolan Jones, Aledmys Diaz. Like there was a lot of mixing and matching there that just didn't work out. I think the day that I dropped Diaz, he went off and had like 2 bombs. The day that I dropped him, or the day after, or something like that. It was a lot of regret.
I gotcha. Benji, what did you see here? Oh, go ahead.
And then the triple from Mateo, which I think came on like Friday or something like that, like or Thursday or Friday. It came towards the end of the matchup, and I was like, "There's a triple. That's it." Like once that happened, yeah. So
Ouch. Ouch. Benji, what did you see here, my friend?
I'm just surprised more than anything. I'm just, it's just weird how that happens sometimes in our league, that playing Mike Sherman in week 22 in last year, and I take a loss after going on a nice streak. I take a loss there before winning a championship. Here he is again, just being annoying, being a pest, being a winning team when you don't expect it to happen against a guy that's making all 12 ads, that's used all 6 trades, that's checking his team every day. It's just weird how it works. It's just strange, and that's what this league can offer sometimes. Like, it doesn't matter how hard you work sometimes. Like, if the other, it's just the guys on the roster that carry a team, and there's nothing really you can do about it. If he's making the minimum, that's all that he needs to do in order to possibly win. So I give credit for Jason to deal with this onslaught, this very good offense, a complete team, fairly balanced that Sherman has. And Jason, all I can say is you're overdue for a big-time streak because, that hasn't really happened yet, like a nice, full, long, lengthy streak. So if it's going to happen, now is the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And the rest of the way, you can absolutely ruin some seasons here, Jason. We've certainly got one this week in Mike Haber. I know this one is particularly delicious for you anytime you face Mike. And then what do you have up after that? I don't have your schedule directly in front of me.
it's Chris Levy, James McCloskey, Christian Wood, Ben, and Bobby.
Yeah, you've got plenty of weeks there. Like, one of those weeks, you're not going to lose them all. And
Nope.
You're not only going to beat McCloskey. Like, one of those dudes is going to take an L to you. The question is, who's it going to be?
I love that I get to face Mike and Ben, as they're both kind of like right in that bunch. That just gives me pleasure.
It's gonna be a really, really fun dogfight.
Yeah.
All right, fellas, it's that time of week where we discuss our matchup of the week. What's your favorite matchup that you were watching this week, Ben Nisman? I'll start with you.
Wow, this is really tough because you had a tie, man, but the most intriguing matchup of all had to be Mike Haber and Bob Russo. And it was just neck and neck. It went back. There were lead changes. And the fact that we're talking on the show as we're about to talk about the matchup, a stat correction, that's so cool. I mean, how often does that happen? So I'm going with this matchup. Bobby, Mike Haber was expected to be the matchup of the week, did not disappoint.
Yeah, I'm actually going with that one myself. It was a lot of fun to watch. 2 guys in the playoff hunt, right on top of each other in the standings, slugging it out. And they finished to this 10-10 tie, and both of them move up in the standings, which I think is incredibly big of it. Jason, how are you feeling here this week?
Yeah. I definitely am gonna go with that. But hats off to Ben and Chris Levy, just because of the implication. It could be a playoff preview. So I love that matchup. But yeah, the fact that this came down to a stat correction, and it's a playoff matchup. Like, Mike and Bobby was definitely the matchup of the week.
Absolutely. All right. Now it is time for that wonderful new segment here. It's the Goodness Gritchick moment of the week. Ed Nisman, we're going to start with you. What'd you see this week? What was fun?
The easiest one for me is the one that I dropped a message in our thread and said, holy crap, Ohtani is out of the lineup for Losi. All he needs to do is get freaking Tapia out there, move some stuff around, rookie. Come on, get him in. It costs him that run. Ohtani had an awesome day, so we're looking at saying, like, holy shit, it might cost him walks, home runs, RBIs, all this shit. It ends up costing runs at the end. The fact that it ends up costing him, that's why it's my Goodness Gritchick moment of the week.
All right. Goodness Gritchick, Matt Losi. Get your star player in your lineup. Jason Ashby, what is your Goodness Gritchick moment of the week?
You know what? I'm gonna take the easy way out here and just say Mets sweep the Marlins. They pretty much stamped their way into the playoffs. I think they're absolutely a shoo-in. I can't wait to see what move they make in the next 12 hours or so. Let's go Mets.
Let's go Mets. I love that. I'm going to take a few minutes here, guys, and I'm going to take my goodness gracious moment of the week. I told you guys that I would be discussing this particular topic here, and I wanted to take this moment and just remind everybody that there are actual human beings on the field that we watch every single day. These are not machines. These are not anything more than people doing their job. And sometimes they also. This week, I went to go see the Reno Aces play the Salt Lake Bees, and the Salt Lake Bees are the AAA affiliate of the Los Angeles Angels. My seats were lawn seats. They were back behind the bullpen, which for me is fantastic because I get to see and perhaps interact with up to like 26 dudes, 13 dudes in the bullpen, plus the bullpen catchers, plus the coaches. Like, it's just a really fun environment for me. And I didn't know much about the Salt Lake Bees team, but I did know that there were plenty of relievers who probably would be somewhere near major league level because it's the Angels and they have a shit bullpen. So I'm standing behind the Bees bullpen, and there's a guy starting to warm up with the elastic band. I'm like, oh, who's number such and such on the Salt Lake Bees? It's Ty Buttrey. Now, that name doesn't have to land with anybody here, but the second I saw the name, it mattered to me. And I'll tell you why. Not because I owned him at any one given time, not because he was a somewhat mediocre closer for the Los Angeles Angels, I think in 2020 or 2019. Regardless, Ty Buttrey retired from baseball at age 28, just over a year ago, citing mental health issues. Ryan Sheriff is retired from baseball because of mental health issues. Andrew Toles is still contractually he's under contract with the Los Angeles Dodgers so that he can receive treatment for mental health issues. This is not something that I take very lightly. It's not something that I've ever joked about, and it's certainly not something I ever will. And I want everyone to understand that I struggle with my own mental health. I've been very candid about that. But to have that weaponized ever is fuck. Goodness Gritchick, who would do that? Managers of the week, boys. Let's go ahead and have that talk now. Number 3, manager of the week for you, Benjamin Nisman.
Gotta go with Brian Lebo here. It was a tough race here. I almost put Mike Haber in just because of the stat correction, but I feel like the man that had him in check the whole time. That's why I'm giving it to Brian. Besides that Alvarez move, maybe he's higher on my list if that doesn't happen, but I'm not gonna not acknowledge what he did from then on out throughout the week. So Brian is number 3 for me.
All right, Jason, let's have your number 3 now.
This is tough. This is really tough for me. I wanted to give it to Ari because I know he didn't win the matchup, but he tied you, which is I think a feat in and of itself. But I'm gonna go with Costas here, taking down the third place team. Really just playing this out right, capitalizing on some misses from Jimmy, and coming away with a pretty good win against a playoff team. So good on Costas.
All right, I'm going to go with James McCloskey here, getting a good win over Christian and spoiling a season, perhaps. I'm getting a whole lot of love in the standings over the last few weeks, so this win is good for him. Hats off to James for that one. I don't have Mike's. I don't know if you guys heard from him or got any from him, so we'll have to get his next week. So, Ben, let's move on to number 2. Who's your number 2 this week?
Number 2, it was said before, it's Costas Paragas. Impressive. Had the lead the entire matchup and kind of let it slip away there on Sunday. Jimmy doing what he sometimes does do on Sundays to other opponents. So maybe that's why Costas isn't number 1 in my opinion. But still, I can't not acknowledge how brilliant he was. He worked his ass off, and it turns into a W for him.
I texted Costas while we were doing after we finished up the midseason show last week. It was during the All-Star break, and I said, you know what, go out there and make this thing interesting. Go out and get yourself a W, and the bigger your W, the better chances you have that the next week will matter. Because right now, I think Costas is fighting for his life. That's also why I'm him my number 2. This was an absolute must win, or else he was done. And he still very well may be done. But at least this week now matters because he won last week. And until these weeks no longer matter because the final nail's in the coffin, I'm not counting this dude out. Costas, congratulations on this win. You need to keep going. Jason, who's your number 2 this week?
I'm giving it to our co-host, Mike Haber. Talk about games that matter, and a stat correction is a stat correction, but it still counts. And here he is, still pushing his way up, and now he's in the playoff spot. Like, he's coming, and now he's here. Taking a win over Bobby is a good win for him. So I gotta give it to Mike.
All right, Mike Haber getting a pair of points there. And let's move on to number 1, Benjamin. Go ahead and give me your number 1 manager of the week.
Number 1 is my current opponent, James McCloskey. I thought that was a really impressive win. Again, held the lead most of the time. Some good ads here. Good general managing, as he always does. Playing spoiler here, a very important week for him. So, Christian playing pretty desperately to see him lose to a spoiler. Very, very frustrating. Love the way McCloskey played this week.
Yeah. Credit where it is due. Jason, who's your number 1?
I do like McCloskey. I just felt like Christian, I feel like he didn't put up much of a fight. So, whereas Ben did put up a fight, so I'm giving it to Chris Levy for taking down the champ and really just stamping his way into what is probably going to be the Final Four.
Yeah. Welcome to the playoffs, Chris Levy. This win solidified it for me that he was absolutely going to be sitting at the table, and it will be very shocking if he's not the 2 seed. To have this be your first opportunity to make the playoffs, and now here we are 6 weeks out saying, yeah, he's in. He's made it. For the next 6 weeks, get right, get healthy. Obviously, you don't want to lose all 6 matchups. That would make things interesting. But no, you're in, and you deserve it, and you put together a hell of a team. Credit all the way. Beating Ben Nisman the way you did this week is to be commended. He is also my number 1 of the week. Credit to Brian Lebo, who is not on my top 3, but definitely would deserve it just as much as well. So let me do the tally on these on the leaderboard here, and we're going to take a look and see where everybody stands. Costa's got a big 5 points this time. Oh, I can delete out the trades line. Hey, fun. Can delete out all of that. All right, Costa's got 5. McCloskey getting a big 4. Mike Haber getting a 2. Levo 1. And Chris Levy getting 6. Oh, goodness. We are looking interesting, boys. Here it is. So, I still lead the way with 48 points, but Chris Levy now number 2. Christian number 3. Josh and Mike right behind them at almost 30. Frank, Ben, and Jason all right there. Bobby and Costas now coming up to the high teens. McCloskey gets to the double digits. Jimmy, Losi, Lebo all at 8. And then Sherman with 4 and Ari with 1. This is what the tracker looks like this week, gentlemen. And again, we are seeing. Oh, and what I'm starting to do here is I'm starting to track the Sunday standings as they were looking going into Sunday, and then what they actually look like Monday morning, so that we see anybody who's moving around. But you will see the top 4 remain the same and have been for a while. And now here comes the gray is sneaking up. Here comes the green, and Frank's on his way up, and it's getting interesting, guys.
But that aqua color is going the wrong way, right?
It is. This is going this way.
Yeah.
He's dropping a position every single week.
Who's aqua? Christian?
Christian.
Yep.
And who's purple?
That's
Dark
Ari.
purple. Wow.
That's Ari.
Yeah.
Costas is brown because he's the shit. McCloskey is the Dodger blue. Lebo is the pink because breast cancer awareness. I don't know. Jason, you got the Mets orange, and Matt Losi has the yellow. Let's take a look at the most and best. The interesting thing here is that I have updated this. I'm not counting any of these toward, obviously, the overall rankings, like the overall totals, because I'm keeping track of every other week but the long ones. However, Jason Ashby did have a record this week that breaks the doubles all-time single week record
Wow.
at 29, sir. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow.
We've had a couple of other records this season all time. The 078 from me, the 098 from Matt Losi, and the ERA. That was insane. But otherwise, pretty pedestrian week, honestly. 52 runs was the most in the league, and it tied the most in a single week that was only 7 days. Yeah. 22 homers and 61 RBIs is ridiculous and is not going to be touched. Not going to be touched. As for the fewest, we also did not see a record broken there either. And Ari had 6 relief appearances. 6. He normally has 4.
Well, 11 days will do that to you.
11 days will do a lot of things to you guys. 11 days has done a lot to this show, but I thank you both for being here. Jason Ashby, thank you so much, my friend.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure. Again, no matter where I am in the standings, I'm always going to enjoy being part of this league, this community, and I can't say enough good things about it. So thank you guys.
Ben Nisman, champion again for another week as we head toward the playoffs for you to defend that championship. Are you getting nervous?
Yeah, absolutely. Tons of anxiety, and it feels like every day right now feels like you're sweating out the dog days of August and grinding out every single day, hoping you don't bench the wrong guy. And I just heard Jason's words echo in my ear and how happy he is to be a part of this league. And, you know, I want to echo those words as well because I'm happy to be a part of it. I'm grateful that I have this group of guys, this community to follow with me and join me every single year as we do something that gives us anxiety and gives us frustration, but gives us like elation that like after we win a week and we see the confetti, we just like, you feel better at work, like at your job, you know, like things change in your life because of this fantasy league. And it's a good thing that I decided a few years, over 15 years to put this thing together and to have, you know, some belief in myself, some confidence that I can make something that works well. That's not the 5x5 league. It's, you know, something with a ton of guys that's exclusive, that's elite, that we all appreciate, and we get more excited about it every year because we all improve. We all get better every year, and it's exciting, and it's just like intense, and I just can't wait for more, man. There's only 6 weeks left. It feels like it's flown by, but
it has.
I just want, like Jason says, like I've had the appetizer. I want the entree now. I just want more.
6 weeks to go. The playoffs are coming. It feels like winter is coming, but the playoffs are coming. I have my table set. Chris Levy is at it. Who are the other 4? Because from 3rd to 14th is 22 games. We play 21 categories, boys. Anything is possible. Anything is realistic when you're that close. I love each and every one of y'all, and I hope you have a great final 6 weeks. Thank you for being here with me. It's been real. It's been fun. And it is always real fun in the bigs. We'll see you next time.